Hi, Dr. Gerry.
What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. How can I help you? It's interview, right? Or something for school you were saying?
Yeah, so it looks like we have like 10 to 15 minutes here, and I
Yeah.
noticed your clinic in Naperville. I see you guys have really great reviews.
hmm
And I wanted to just interview you and ask a few questions because I'm actually a advertising student, and
hmm
I'm doing a class right now where we're basically supposed to have a internship, but we also have the
Okay.
choice of running our own business. Now, since I
hmm
have a background in web design, I decided to do that as my internship, run my own business,
hmm
and part of that was choosing a niche. And so I chose to work with sports rehabilitation physical
Okay.
therapists. Um,
Interesting.
right. So I guess we can hop right into like questions. And like the first question I wanted to ask you is um, why physical therapy, and what makes you want to help people in this way?
Oh, okay. Well, first, can I ask you why did you choose PT? Because I know why I chose PT. I have a ton of different reasons, but I'm wondering why you chose it. Because you're a business major, right? So, what made you pick it?
Advertising.
Or
Um,
advertising? Yeah.
right. So I I consider myself an athlete, and I like working out and stuff. And also I
hmm
have experience working with physical therapists in terms of like previous projects that I've done.
Oh, okay.
So, like for example, right now I'm helping uh, physical therapy clinic in Evergreen Park with their website. They're called a
Oh, cool.
core fitness PT,
Okay.
and then before this, I made a website for a massage therapist actually
hmm
um, in
Yep.
Austin, Texas, and they also had some sports packages and all that. So
Cool.
that's why I just decided to keep going with
Interesting.
this niche.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't really know a lot of advertising students that go into like, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but specifically PT, I guess I've never really seen that because I help like the schools around here, like Benedictine and North Central, and it's hard to get like the business majors or advertising majors to, I guess even look at us, but because we're so, I guess, niche. But I appreciate the fact that you're actually trying to help us in a way, so that's really cool. But anyways, back to your question. Like, so you're asking me why I chose PT, and
What made you
um,
want to help people in this way?
oh man. Okay, so I guess to
And
start,
actually, before, is it
mhm,
okay if I record this call from here on, and in order to refer back to it? And
yeah,
also,
sure,
I was thinking about starting my own YouTube channel and maybe putting these interviews up there, just the
yeah.
audio. So it's totally up to you if that's cool with you. Is it okay if I do that?
Did you want to put this one on or on YouTube? We could do it
Yeah.
again. I could do it better. I thought it was gonna be like a more of a informal, quick interview, but I mean, I'm all for doing it a different time as well for your YouTube. Since I just started my YouTube as well, so I know it's a little bit more involved, but
Yeah,
you
I
can
was
record this and whatever you want to do. It's all good. Don't worry about it, man. For sure.
okay. Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, what made me want to do PT and help people in general? It's a very loaded question, but I like it. I would say, in school, because I went to North Central for undergrad in Naperville, and I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field, but at the same time, like I didn't, I didn't like school long enough to know, or school enough that much to even like go to straight med school. So I would, even though I took all those like med school track classes, the prerequisites, I was always thinking I don't want to go to school for that long. So my professors at North Central, they always kind of steered me towards different professions. So like they told me to check out dentistry or PT, OT, podiatry, stuff like that, within the medical field. And, I had pretty good grades. I took all the prereqs, like I said, the medical prereqs. So I had all the grades, GPA, all that good stuff. And so I would shadow different professions. And then when I shadowed PT, and I saw that I could be more like sporty with it, more athletic with it, because that's kind of my personality. I'm a little bit more like to be athletic and in shape and stuff like that, take care of myself athletically. So when I figured out that PT can be more sports medicine based, that's when I went all in for PT. And it's a doctorate degree, so it's also obviously a doctor title, which is kind of cool. And as far as helping people, I've always kind of just had that personality of being an empathetic person, I guess, being a person of service. So I know to me that's the best feeling in the world is helping somebody in general, and also now with PT is helping them get out of pain. So helping someone when they're in trouble and pain, that to me is the best feeling in the world. So that's essentially why I chose PT and to help people, if that makes sense. Loaded answer, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like, it sounds like you were able to combine your passion into this, and like I see that you have a history in like combat sports or combat sports training. And
yeah, so I grew up loving boxing and MMA. So like I do boxing like training here and there with my friends, MMA stuff, jiu-jitsu. So I gear my practice more towards combat athletes around Naperville. So people who do jiu-jitsu and boxing, or who are involved in combat sports, MMA, stuff like that. But I'll help anybody that's like on my website, maybe I put like also like the active individual or the athletic population. I help athletes from North Central, from Benedictine, from Naperville North High School, from Naperville Central High School. So any athlete I'm willing to help. And also, eventually I want to cater it more towards combat athletes, but like this is still to me the infancy stages of my practice. Like I just started this a year and a half ago ish, around there. So I now want to keep it more towards the sporting aspect of PT. So I'd love to just work with combat athletes in the future, but right now I'm more than happy to help anybody, any athlete, any active person around Naperville. So.
Yeah, so what's keeping you from working with combat athletes, would you say, all the way right now?
I think right now maybe just since I guess like I said recently, I've just gone on my own. I would say it's more so making a name for myself around the community, marketing myself, getting my name out there some more to different gyms. And I do help a lot of gyms around here, which is great. But I think I still need to build that reputation of, I'm this MMA fighter or this pro boxer. And I do have a few of them, but I think it just takes time for me to narrow it down to just the combat athletes. The more experience I get and the more I build my reputation around the area, I would say. So just time, probably. I like to think I'm still pretty young in the game, so I'm a patient person though. So I know eventually I'll make that dream more of a reality. So.
So like, interesting. And so before this, did you work for another clinic, and how long have you been doing like your full solo thing?
Okay, so I graduated school in 2016, 17, around there. 17. Well, 16, tail end of 16, December, and then I didn't start working until 17, obviously. So I did work for the usual corporate company around here, Illinois. You can name them off; they're all the same. So I worked for them for 5 years, and 5-6 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. I'm trying to remember, but it feels like forever ago. So I worked for them, and it was fine. I mean, it's a good a good job fresh out of school. You get a lot of experience. You see a lot of patients every day. Unfortunately, like the downside of working for those corporate companies, the corporate mill outpatient clinics, as we call them, you see too many patients at a time. You see 3 people at a time, 2 patients at a time. Like I would get 4 patients at a time sometimes if it got crazy, and it'll burn you out pretty quickly. That type of healthcare is not good for the provider. It's also not good for the patient because they're not getting the one-on-one care that they need. So I did that for 4 or 5 years, and then later, after COVID, maybe 21, 22-ish, I quit that job, and then I kind of went mobile for a while, as in I would go to people's houses with my own LLC or my own business that I had license and everything. So I did that for a while. I worked at the hospital by me for a little bit too as a PT. Just kind of trying to figure out my next steps. And then the more I kind of built my clientele with the mobile stuff, and I even treated people out of my garage, which is kind of funny. So people would come to my garage and I would help them out as well. I had my treatment table set up there. So I was kind of all over the place, but I felt for lack of a better term, I felt free. I didn't feel like I had that corporate pressure anymore to live up to productivity standards, to see a certain amount of patients every week, every day. Those corporate parameters are very suffocating sometimes. And I knew when I was in PT school that I wanted to do my own business anyway. So it was going to happen regardless. So I did some mobile stuff, some stuff out of my house. I was at the hospital for a little bit. And I still am technically. I mean, I go there on weekends sometimes if they need help, so which is kind of cool. But and then after a while, I started making some better money, and then I rented out some spaces around Naperville, and then here we are. So that's how I kind of got to where I'm at right now. So now I have a space that I rent out. It's pretty nice in Naperville, and I just treat patients out of there. So it's cool.
Yeah. Cool. So you mentioned that you went to North Central. Actually, my brother, he just graduated from Bennett. I don't know if you know where that is, and he goes to North Central currently. But he's looking to transfer to Parkland. So that's cool. I guess we have some overlap there. And
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so it sounds like the ideal thing for you is to have more focused sessions with clients. And would you say
yes.
building a personal brand is a big part of that?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially nowadays, thankfully with social media and I guess the internet and your cell phone and everything, smartphones, it's a lot easier to kind of throw a big net out at different people, different communities. The reach is a little bit better with everything being online, I guess. But personal branding is everything with marketing. I do networking groups. I was a part of the Chamber of Commerce for Naperville. I cold call, cold email people. Social media stuff. The more exposure that you get and the more people see that you're an authentic person that wants to help people, I think that's huge for any business, especially the person owning and operating it, which is myself, that they get to see me and the type of person that I am. So I love to show that. What was the second part of your question? You said personal branding and what else?
Well, it was basically just whether how big of a role personal branding is towards you being able to be focused and have that one-on-one focus that you want, you prefer to have.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, one-on-one focus is huge. I mean, that's the benefits of having my private practices. I told you that the old job that I had, my old clinic. Again, it was fine. It was just the corporate healthcare system wants you to see X amount of patients during the week or during every day, and it becomes a lot. And then, like I said, it would be a lot of overlap with patients. So I would see 3 people at a time, 2 people at a time, 4 people at a time, and it got a little bit out of hand. And I was like, okay, like this is now how I want to help people. I want to help them one on one. I want them to have my focused attention for an hour, 10 minutes, just me and them, and no distractions, no corporate distractions, no phone calls, no whatever other stuff is going on in those clinics. And I love it. It's a lot better. It's a lot more smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Patients love it. They get the care that they need. They're with me the whole time. I'm not spread too thin like in my other job. So I think it's a win-win. It's a win for me, and it's a win for the patient because they get all my attention. So
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, you mentioned people seeing you for authentically wanting to help people and that being important. It sounds like connection is important to you in terms of the type of relationship that you want to have with clients. And is it that at the corporate jobs there wasn't much of an opportunity to really connect with individual clients because there's so much in and out and there's multiple.
Exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I would say as much as I tried, and again, like I did my best to be as personal and one-on-one as I could with each patient at my old job, but it was just impossible. Like there's no way to do it. You have to see 2-3 people at a time to meet their standards of what they want to hit their numbers, their whatever you want to call them, their KPIs, their performance indicators that they have, which is important to any business. But again, in those settings, they want too many patients just for money, and it's not my style. So connection is huge, and I wasn't getting that at those clinics. As hard as I tried, it was just impossible. And now I can have that connection with people. I tell people all the time I'm their personal physical therapist. I'm their personal doctor of physical therapy. People text me right now. I mean, they email me, they call me. Obviously, to some extent, I need my boundaries as well, but I'm more than happy to go that extra mile for somebody since, like I said, it's all private, and I want to give them that extra mile with personalized healthcare that I provide. So that's why I'm glad that I'm doing it my way now. So it feels good.
Yeah. So are there certain aspects that are more challenging of dealing with less clients as opposed to having a multiple flow of clients at once?
Yeah. I would say in terms of
like revenue speaking, wouldn't you have to charge higher prices per client to make it worth your time?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have to, and again, I think it's worth it since you are getting the doctor of physical therapy with you, myself, with the patient the whole time. Like, there's no, you don't get that watered down care that you do at the other clinics. So, and it's all personal, and that to me warrants, a little bit more out of your pocket. At the same time, you'll be getting the best care that you can get physical therapy wise from a physical therapist. So yeah, I have to charge a little bit more, but at the same time, they're getting a lot more from me than what they would at a, what I like to call the Taco Bell clinics around here. They're all just kind of watered down, cookie cutter PT. And I think it shows. And I've had people come from those clinics to me, and they're like, "Oh, like you're with me for the whole hour 15." I'm like, "Yeah, like this is how it's supposed to be." And I like when they get excited that they get my full attention. And if it warrants a little bit more money from them, I'm gonna do my best to give them the best care that they can get from me. So I'm gonna make their money's worth. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned networking and doing cold calls and going to events, being part of the Chamber of Commerce.
Mm.
Are those like, what would you say are the main ways that you gain leads and stuff for your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, honestly, the word of mouth is still king. Like, thankfully, I worked at another clinic that was busy, and those clients still kind of, they had their family come to me, their friends come to me. So I already had kind of a little bit of a base of clients, patients, regardless. And then, I help them. They tell their family about me. They tell their friends about me, their sons, daughters. So that's always going to be king, is just word of mouth and the people that I've helped in general over the years. But other ways I would say is I would email. I know the first few months, I did just email a bunch of gyms around the area, and I would just go in and talk to them and be like, hey, this is what I offer. I'm a PT around here, sports PT. Like, I'd love to help you guys out. Maybe do some free workshops or free assessments at your gym. And some of those gyms loved it. Some of them didn't. That's okay. You know what I mean? Some of them just didn't call me back or email me back. And that's fine. Everybody's busy. At the same time, the ones that did, I still had strong relationships with them. And they always sent me like a constant stream of people. So gyms, networking groups as well. Like, you never know who you're going to meet. So, like, I just talk to anybody, and whoever is interested in PT, I would talk their ear off about PT to them. And then maybe they have like a friend that needs PT or they need PT. Um, this last networking thing I went to last week or 2 weeks ago, like, somebody was just telling me that her arm was hurting her, and I was like, yeah, I'll check it out for you. And then I checked it out for her. Now she's gonna tell her friends about it, her family, and it goes from there.
Yeah.
So word of mouth, sometimes cold calls, cold emails, networking groups, as well as social media. Like you said, like we said before, personal brand. I mean, that's a big part of it now. There's no way to, why wouldn't I use social media? It's just an easy way to get your name out there. And yeah, it could be used for good and bad. Obviously, you don't want to be endlessly scrolling on there for no reason. But if you have a business and you're not on social media, it's kind of, it's strange to me, because you should be able to use it to your advantage and leverage it. Whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook groups, people ask for help online now. So, and I'm willing to message them and be like, hey, I'm a local PT. I'll help you out. Text me, call me, email me. So I use that as well. I use any means that I could open a channel of conversation with somebody, I will use. And thankfully, nowadays, there's a lot of ways to reach people. And
Yeah,
pretty much how
man.
I get my clientele.
Yeah, man. Like, even this interview, I really appreciate it, and I feel like I'm learning a lot and stuff. And speaking of like PT and you helping that woman with her arm and stuff, like me, I'm into basketball, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
trying to increase my vertical and stuff personally. So I watch
Okay.
some trainers, like Isaiah Rivera. I think he's the highest jumper, and
Oh,
he's a dunker and stuff. But I've been having Achilles pain, so uh, I have no idea where that comes from, but maybe you probably
well,
handle
come
things
on
like
in, my
that.
friend. I'll help you out. I'll check it out for you. I'll give you a free visit, and then just kind of go from there. But I see ankle and Achilles stuff all the time, so it's nothing new.
Right, because I just learned how to dunk and stuff from
Nice.
watching those Isaiah Rivera videos. He teaches like plyometrics. I don't know if you know about that.
Okay.
And then power cleans are big for vertical in his routine and stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah,
So,
power training, stuff like that. I mean, yeah, my bachelor's is in exercise science, so like I love anything exercise related. So I'm definitely well versed in plyos, power training, all that stuff. It fascinates me, any type of exercise. So that's cool, man. I'm
yeah,
glad you're meeting your goals with dunking. That's cool.
Yeah, and so like speaking of personal trainers, are there any personal trainers that you follow that you kind of look up to or would share and stuff like with people?
Trainers, like you mean like social media or like around Naperville or both?
Like social media.
Oh man. Honestly, the one of the guys that I remember when I was at North Central in undergrad, I remember reading his book was oh man, he was just on Huberman's podcast 2 days ago, I think. Physical
Yep,
therapist. What's his
I
name?
know about him, Andrew Huberman.
Yeah. He just had Kelly Starrett, Dr. Kelly Starrett. He's a PT. He wrote a book called oh man, Becoming a Supple Leopard, I think it's called. But he's like a big CrossFit physical therapist, and he was pretty big online on YouTube back when I was probably your age, like 10 years ago or something, 8, 10 years ago. But I remember watching his videos, and he was so like engaging. It was easy to follow. His book is really easy to follow. He was big on all that mobility stuff. He was probably the first guy to introduce any of that stuff. Um, so him for sure, Kelly Starrett. He was just on Huberman's podcast, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. So I'll definitely listen to that one tonight or something. But he's great. Who else? Well, he's a physical therapist. Like personal trainers. Um, Let me think. Anybody else I could think of online? Maybe I'm just drawing a blank right now, but I usually I follow some more guys. You want to throw some out there? Anybody you're thinking of that
Brand,
maybe?
I like Brandon Carter. I don't know if you know about him.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, for sure. Yep,
King
he's great.
Keto.
Yeah, yeah, he was big on YouTube a long time ago too. Yeah, back when Kelly was on there too. I mean, he's still pretty big now, I guess.
Yeah.
Who else? Maybe I know them, but he's good. Yeah.
Um, he has a buddy too that I would follow from Canada. I mean, there's also Elliot Holmes.
Elliot Off, yeah, he's an old school too. Yeah, is he even still around? He's got to be. Well, because you're how old? How old are you?
25.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm 10 years older than you. Yeah, 25. So Elliot House was huge in 2014, 13, 12. I remember watching him all the time. Yeah, his
Right.
motivational videos. He was great.
Yeah. And so like a lot of those guys, speaking of revenue and like physical therapy and sports training and stuff, a lot of those guys they do online coaching
Yep.
sessions. Is that something
Mm-hmm.
you've ever looked into?
Yep. I just started doing that like a couple months ago. So like my social media was getting better, and I've had people just message me on Instagram, "Hey, my shoulder hurts. What do I do?" And I've taken on a bunch of virtual clients too now. So that's kind of cool. That if I, it depends though, because some people need more hands-on physical therapy. I would say, but if it's like general shoulder pain and they have full range of motion, their strength is pretty good. It's just kind of nagging them. They're definitely a good candidate for virtual PT, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I'd have to like jump on a call with them, make sure nothing crazy is going on. If something is going on that I feel that they need to go see a PT like in their town or in nearby, I'd be like, yeah, go see a PT by you. But if they have like just general back pain or like knee pain and they have good range of motion, good strength, they're relatively active, it's just like, I don't know, 3 or 4 out of 10 on the pain scale, I'll be like, yeah, I could definitely just see you virtually online. So it's definitely a possibility and something I've been implementing more. So it's great.
Yeah. So describe your ideal client.
Ooh, and this is a good question because if we are like talking about being like entrepreneurs and stuff, like we need to find our specific niche or niche that involves our clients or our clientele or people that we want to serve. So for me, it would be, man, honestly, the more I just kind of ideally I want to treat combat athletes. At the same time, like I love helping like the active weekend warrior type guy that's just at the gym once in a while. So I would say it's more so just active people, the active population. That's my ideal client. I don't care if they do CrossFit, they go to the gym once in a while, they're an athlete at a local high school by me. They like to lift weights, bodybuilder guys, power lifter guys. I've had some strongman guys. So anybody who's like active and they have a sport that they love, that's my ideal client.
Yeah, and so that's great. And like, what's the problem that you would consider yourself the best at solving for clients? And also, I guess it's a double-barreled question, but um,
Mm.
you solve pain obviously for people and you help them recover. Are there ever has there ever been a problem that you weren't able to solve or that was difficult?
These are great questions. So the first one you were saying like diagnoses or like what do I treat the most
Well,
or
it's like, what's the problem you would consider yourself best at solving for clients? Like, if you could have like unlimited people come in, what problem would you be most confident being the expert at?
like any diagnosis you're saying like back pain, shoulder pain,
Yeah,
stuff
stuff
like
like
that?
that.
Okay. Honestly, probably even though it's probably one of the hardest ones, back pain, because back pain is everybody gets it. It's so prevalent. I call it the common cold of musculoskeletal disorders because everybody gets back pain. It's crazy, honestly. The range of age that I've seen people get back pain. I've seen 12-year-olds with back pain. I've seen obviously 50-year-olds with back pain. Everybody gets it, and it's kind of crazy. So, but I love helping people with it. So I would say back pain is one, and probably knee pain. I like treating those two, and I'm pretty good at it. Not that I'm not good at ankles or necks or shoulders or hands or anything, but those are probably my favorite. And also, I see those the most, I would say. So those two for sure. And then your second question was, have I ever like not solved something for somebody?
Yeah.
Hmm. It hasn't happened to me now that I've gone private and doing my own thing, thankfully. But it did happen at my old clinic, and I remember one of my patients. She had like a knee replacement or something. I don't remember if it was knee or a hip, but I remember she asked me something and she kind of pulled me aside and she was like, "Hey, like my hip isn't getting any better, and I think it's because like you're not paying attention to me or something." And I knew I wasn't in my head, and I hated doing that. But again, in those environments, you have to kind of like spread yourself thin. And when she told me that, it like broke my heart. I was like, damn, like I wish I could be with her more, but you just can't in those clinics. They're so busy. You see a billion people every day. And I remember I couldn't help her, and she was like, "I'm not going to come back next week because you're seeing too many people." And this was like towards the end of before I quit or something because it was getting a little crazy, you know. And I knew it in my head. I was like, "This is too much already." Like I don't like it. The patients aren't liking it. So I think for in this specific situation, it was like her hip pain, and then I couldn't do it. I couldn't help her, and it sucked because it was kind of it wasn't something I could control at that time because it was just the corporate environment. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but I remember that one vividly. So because I hated that someone told me that, and it sucked because I couldn't be with her as much as I wanted to. So
Yeah, I mean, that's really insightful. And I guess also the thing I was gonna ask is, so I guess it sounds like you felt a gap in the market, and you stepped out to go ahead and fill that yourself with more personalized training.
yep.
Um, so in terms of your business currently, what would you say is your goal deal flow, and like, I guess, how many clients would you want per month?
Per month. So let me think. Honestly, if I get like 8 patients a day, that's great. So that would be what is that? What is that? 40 a week or something? Around like 35, 40 a week.
Yeah.
So if you were to multiply that out by 4, what is that? 160 or something? I don't know. I'm not good at math.
160.
Around there. So with that like 140, 160 range, it's probably enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then like once I get that consistently, I'll probably have to hire somebody else. Because right now it's just me. Like there's nobody else. It's just me and my clinic, me and my space, and I do everything. But I can see it getting to that point where it's getting a little hectic. Like I have a lot of people tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Today was a lighter day, and I got home somewhat early. But once like Monday and Tuesday get busy for me, then I'll be like, okay, it's getting a little bit overwhelming, but not impossible. But I might need to start looking at like an admin person or like an assistant or a tech or an aide or maybe another PT. And that's something I got to figure out for my business. But so numbers wise, I would say maybe like 40 a week, 30, 40 a week, and then between I don't know, what did I say, 140, 160 or something, 150, 160 a month, around there, before it starts getting crazy for me.
Okay, so it sounds like you could handle like 160 per month, and um and you do this kind of solo, and so
Yeah.
how close are you to that goal currently?
Maybe 160 is a little too much, but maybe I'd say 150 a month, maybe. But I'm just trying to figure it out in my head right now. But what do I see right now currently? So like weekly, I'm getting like maybe 5, 6 people a day. So what is that? 30
30,
ish.
yeah.
Upwards like late, more 20, higher 20s, early 30s, around there, low 30s. And then once that gets to like higher 30s, low 40s, that's when I gotta start, either buckling down and try to like do it myself for a little bit, or like I said, look for some help. But like I would say right now, high 20s, low 30s, like I'm chilling. Like I'm okay right now. It feels good. But I know I'm gonna miss this once I get super busy. So like I'm trying to enjoy it right now. Like it's still a good flow, but I can see it getting busier, and I'm like, I need to prepare for it as well. So
Yeah. So so you mentioned being solo. I guess the last question is, what's the hardest part of growing a clinic? From if you can be like technical about it, is it managing schedules? Is it like doing invoicing at the same time as trying to actually help the clients? Stuff like that.
I would say it's all of that. It's the stuff that's outside of like me treating a patient one on one is the easy part for me. Like I love helping people. I love hanging out with them. I love doing whatever manual therapy I'm doing with them, like whatever soft tissue work, cupping, dry needling, cracking their back, whatever. And also showing them rehab exercises for their specific pain having. Like that to me is easy. The hardest part is like all the admin stuff, the administrative stuff. So like documentation, like you said,
Insurance forms too.
Insurance, thankfully I don't deal with it a lot because I'm mostly cash based. But if someone wants to try it, that's when it gets a little, murky as well. Is insurance stuff, if needed. Thankfully, most people just do cash with me. Documentation stuff, payments, scheduling, like you said. That's I gotta stay on top of that with my calendar. So all the outside like tech admin stuff is the hardest part for me now. And eventually, thankfully, like I said, I'll hire somebody to do most of that in the future. But doing that just solo is a little bit tougher because I'm not like the best at scheduling sometimes. I mean, I am, but it's just it's a lot to do outside of treating patients. So I would say that part is the hardest part.
Yeah, so like that's one of the things I work with on the sports rehab client for web design is like they have a booking software, and they send out a lot of insurance forms. So part of that was making a digital form that people could fill out and just sign with DocuSign and all that. But
Cool.
like yeah, so
I'm
like
gonna have to ask you about that because I'm still like a little confused on what to use for. Well, I use Jotform, and then others than Google for most stuff, but I don't know. I don't know what you use for electronically signing stuff, but maybe you can give me some ideas with that too. But we could talk later about that maybe.
yeah, if that would interest you, and like the stuff that you brought up another question. I mean, those corporate PT locations, they probably had some advanced booking softwares and stuff that you got used to using, because I know scheduling is just a huge part of this industry and the administration part.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean,
and
they had. Go ahead.
and what like booking software do you use now?
So right now I use to book people. I just put it in my calendar, and then like I use Google mostly for everything. So I got my Google Calendar and everything. I am gonna use probably what is it called? It's a different booking software that I was playing with earlier. I think it was Calendly or something. One of
Yeah,
those.
Calendly, I've heard of that.
But right now I'm just kind of doing it off of my Google Calendar, and I just put people in my calendar, which is probably not the best way to do it, but it's working for me right now. I'm pretty fast with it, so I use Google for that, and then for documentation and other stuff, I use Google as well. I made my own little like online medical records documentation system, and it's all HIPAA compliant and all that stuff. So eventually, I've been looking at different stuff. I know Jane, I think it's called Jane app or something. They have both the scheduling and the documentation for medical people built in. So I was looking at that actually yesterday. So I might be in the middle of kind of changing some stuff, but it shouldn't be too hard to convert to something else or to try a different booking service. So right now it's mostly Google though. So
Google, and that's a lot of manual work as well, it sounds like.
yeah, maybe you could show me a better way of doing it. But I'm trying to keep my overhead low still. Not that it's too bad right now, but like you said, it is a lot of manual work where I have to like input people. I have like a little system that I kind of do it now. Like it's not super hard anymore. Like I just duplicate appointments and stuff, so it's not too bad. But there's probably a better way of doing it, and I'll probably switch soon. So yeah, for sure.
When you say a better way of doing it, could you elaborate on that? I'm curious what's behind that.
Maybe have someone like do it online. You know what I mean? Like a different way of, like, instead of people texting me or telling me on the day of or right before they leave their appointment with me, like I ask them like what's your schedule like next week or the week after. Probably something more streamlined, like online. They could just make an appointment that way. I've played with it a little bit, but I like, and again, I can't keep this up forever. I like the personal touch of me asking them and calling them or texting them like, hey, when do you want to book your next appointment? Or let's book you out 2 weeks. Or so instead of me doing it so personal like that, maybe I could just have an online service kind of just, they could go to my website and just book it that way, or somewhere else. So I've been looking at different options for that, but right now I'm okay. So I was thinking something more streamlined, but in the future I'll look into those things like online booking or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And what difference would that make in your practice to have a online streamlined booking flow?
Probably just less time that I do it myself. But like I said, I want to focus more so on patient care than anything else. But scheduling is important, so it'll probably just take some of the load off of me since I'm still a solo practitioner. So less time outside of the clinic that I could be spent on, marketing or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like for marketing, I mean, obviously we talked about networking and all that. What channels of marketing have you tried? Um, like stuff like that. Have you tried, for example, Google service ads?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Google reviews are huge, and I think is that how you found me, or?
Yeah, I found you on a Google search basically for a PT near me, and I guess, and I was looking for sports rehab physical therapist, and I guess in Naperville you rank really high, and also you have really great reviews, so you definitely have a talent for what you do, it seems, and
thanks, man. I try, and that's all me.
And it stands out because I think you have a perfect 5. So
yes, and I want to keep it that way, and that's what I strive for, especially when it comes to healthcare. I mean, people, this is their health, so I have to take it as serious as I can when I'm trying to help somebody. So, and hopefully it shows through my Google reviews. But those are big for marketing. I have my website people too. Like they did all my SEO stuff. My website, like I said, they did. So I got my website. I got my Google stuff. I update my Google regularly. I ask people for reviews all the time, which again, that helps with exposure. Like you said, you just typed in Naperville PT and I came up. That's exactly what I want. So that's working, thankfully. Took a while, but it's working now, thankfully. Marketing, I mean, I just started a podcast, so I'm hoping to kind of market myself that way as well. You can watch it on YouTube. It's on Spotify, Apple. I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in. It's called the Art of Wellness podcast, which is a play off of my practice called Art of PT. So nice. I want to talk to more like wellness professionals, people in like other physical therapists, other strength and conditioning people, anything within the wellness and health and wellness field. I'll talk to. It's like mental health people, personal trainers, coaches, people like that. So that's my podcast is hopefully going to help market myself more. And also I have an email newsletter called the PT Handbook, and I send that out, I think, bi-weekly, and it's me. I type it up and I will send it out every other week. So those are kind of 3 marketing things that I'm doing now is podcast, newsletter, and more kind of Google stuff. I guess that's all more so online space, but like I said, it helps. So I'm going to use it.
Yeah. And it sounds like if you had more time and you automated a lot of these administration tasks, it would leave more time for social media as well, because social media takes a decent amount of time to create content.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how you currently fit that in with doing the actual not the training, the rehabilitation of clients.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find time for that? Yeah,
that's a super good question, because I was just talking about this. Thankfully, everything in business is networking and people, and even within this year and a half that I've gone solo, more so like all in on this, I have friends that they have a podcast studio. So like I use their studio and I record my podcast with my friends who are trainers, who are people who do jiu-jitsu, MMA coaches, boxers. I'll have my professors on, probably from North Central, hopefully one of these days. I use that studio, my friend's studio, or well, he's not a friend, but he was someone that I saw that I met through a friend of a friend, I think, or they just recommended it to me. And I got into contact with them, and I used their studio to do my podcast for an hour 10 minutes, and then I just kind of clipped that up and post it on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and those are my social media reels and stuff. So that's how I do it, and it works perfectly because I just do it on Saturday sometimes, and it's an hour and a half of my time, and then I could just clip it up into 4 or 5 clips, 5, 6, 7 clips, and then post it everywhere. So that to me is like the easiest way to fit it into my schedule right now. But like you said, once I get more help, I could probably even do more than that. So, but right now that's working for me. So I'm chilling. It's not too bad right now.
So what's the thing that has been stopping you from getting more help right now, would you say?
Probably because I'm at the tipping point of getting super busy, but I'm not there yet. Like I said, once I start hitting those what is it, like 40 patients a week, more and above 40 patients, that's when I think I'll need more help. Like right now, I think I'm still okay. And I'm still like paying my student loans off. I want to keep my overhead low for my business. Thankfully, I'm almost done with my student loans. I'll be done with that like in a couple months. And then I could just invest everything into my business more so, probably get busier and then get more help. That's my plan, essentially. But right now, I'm okay. I'm not overwhelmed. Like I know when I'll get overwhelmed, and then that's when I will look for some help. But I'm okay right now, so eventually I will.
Okay, and yeah, you mentioned also the Jane app.
Yep.
So like me being a web designer, I'm fascinated by different softwares, booking solutions, and all that. What features drew you to that one, or like, attracted you, I guess?
Well, other PTs that I have friends like in different states, and they have their own practice as well, and they just started using Jane app, and they told me that it looks and it functions fine. So I've had maybe 3 of my friends tell me these past couple weeks to try it out, and because they just switched over, and the price seems reasonable, and it's pretty streamlined. So I'll look into that one. Unless you got some different suggestions, I'm open to suggestions, but that's the one I've heard the most. So I'll definitely take a more in-depth look at that app probably this week or next week. So
Yeah, and okay, so that's pretty much all like the questions I had, and like,
oh, cool.
And I feel like we covered a lot, and like this was really insightful because again, like I'm trying to learn how the best ways to help sports rehab, physical therapists, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so hearing about the day to day has been really insightful, and just hearing about what's the most hard parts and what's of scaling your business and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And current, as an advertising student as well, and doing this web design, I also do web marketing for clients and stuff. So one of the things that we do is we actually use Google Ads to book out physical therapists. And so there's like a certain cost per lead that Google charges, and we offer like a performance based kind of thing where we don't charge anything except for clients that we successfully booked. So maybe if you've ever like been interested, or if you're ever interested in Google Ads, we can get you to that 40 to 45 clients per week within a few months and stuff. And again, there's no cost up front except just you spending the ad spend that you would on Google.
It's everything health and wellness. So I'm obviously the physical therapist, but I want to hit wellness from health and wellness from different angles. So I want to have mental health people on. I want to have personal trainers on. Anybody who's involved in health and wellness, I'd love to interview and talk to, and have a conversation with. So that's my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, it's on Apple, all that stuff. And then I have my email newsletter. It's called the PT Handbook, and you could search for that. And my Instagram is probably where I'm most active. It's at APT.G on Instagram. That's my Instagram username. And my website is artofpt.com, and that's my practice. That's my physical therapy practice. It's called Art of PT Sports Physical Therapy, and it's what I love. It's my baby, my private PT practice. So if anybody has any questions, they could just message me on Instagram or just email me through my website. So
Yeah, man. This was awesome.